I guess that's a good segue to talk about some of the tools that we use for project management. So let me switch over to the thing here. So, I mean, the big ones are...
And they even call it a Scrum board, not a Kanban board.
Right. So,
and there is a Kanban board. All right,
yeah,
well, there you go.
They're technically different, but there's the differences are so technical that nobody really...
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Makes
it's
that
like
differentiation in the field.
What's the big deal?
And honestly, I don't know many senior level developers that could explain the difference between Scrum and Kanban. And I don't think it matters. There's not, I mean, you should understand the concepts of those things so that you can use them properly. But
I mean, look, it's identical.
Yeah.
There's a to-do column. There's an in-process review. They're pretty much identical.
So, and this is pretty much what I see. And, you know, Jira supports this, and Jira's obvious from Atlassian is one of the big ones that a lot of big companies use.
Yeah.
You know, Trello, same type of thing. It's a board type thing. And a lot of companies use this. Trello's really good because you can get into it for free. So if you're doing small team or small project stuff, this is a good way to start getting exposed to that kind of project management. GitHub, now, I mean, they have project management.
Yeah,
so,
you were just telling me about this
last
week.
I don't think this has been around long. I haven't had a chance to mess with this much, but
I still think it's in like a beta, or you have to get invited or something.
Yeah, but I really want to get my hands on this because one of the things that I like to do is try to have, you know, an all-in-one tool.
Well, I mean, Jira is that too. Can't you?
It is.
If you like Jira, you could.
Well, it is, except for the fact that because GitHub project management will be native to GitHub, and everybody uses GitHub for their source control.
Does Jira provide source control? I haven't used Jira. Other than, let me rephrase that. I've used Jira from a consulting perspective where someone says, hey, here's a ticket we want you to work on type thing.
Yeah. The times I have used Jira, it has been backed by GitHub source control. So they've done the integrations.
Well, I mean, me too,
there.
Because like the clients I'm talking about, all of them use GitHub.
So does it have source control? I think they may used to, but I think they may have taken it out because there really was not a lot of point to that. Because everybody's just using GitHub. But I'm excited to see this project management from GitHub because...
Well, they have Bitbucket, right? Isn't it
Jira?
Atlassian Bitbucket? Right.
Oh, do they? I don't know, because I don't use Bitbucket. I've never run into I've never been involved with a company that uses Bitbucket. Everybody just uses GitHub, so
I have seen repositories and whatnot using Bitbucket, but yeah, I mean, all of my clients that I work with, they use GitHub.
Yeah,
and some of them use Jira for certain things. But so Jira and Bitbucket are developed by Atlassian.
Right. And this is, I mean, Jira is a fine project management suite. It's got all the reporting you need, the Kanban boards, you know, dashboards, assignments, multi-person team assignments and all that kind of stuff. So it's a fine project management tool. I'm interested to see how GitHub's project management is going to stack up to that. There, of course, is a thing called ZenHub that is a project management plugin for GitHub. I think
they're probably unhappy right now.
Yeah. Well, I think actually what I heard was that GitHub actually incorporated some of this stuff into their product. Now, whether there was any kind of sharing with that, I don't know, but probably. And then there are literally hundreds of project management online tools like Monday.com and ClickUp and Teamwork and
Basecamp.
It's just an endless thing. So, all I can say is that the ones that Unfuddle, actually, I used for many, many years, which is not full-fledged project management, but it's a little more than issue tracking. So it's kind of halfway there. But I will say that Jira and Trello and Basecamp have really been my go-tos for project management, for technical project management. The only issue I have with Jira is it's kind of expensive. So if you're a small company, getting into this is a little tough, but not impossible. If you're just starting out with project management, I would go to Trello just to get the feel for the Kanban boards and how that stuff works and playing around with it, because you can get free accounts for this.
Or GitHub's pretty inexpensive, so I wonder how much
I don't know
project management will eventually be.
I haven't seen pricing on their project management yet, so I'm not entirely sure. But they do have, they're going to have full stuff, and they're kind of, it's what I've seen so far, the glossy brochures I've seen, it ties directly into the stuff they've already got. So for instance, wikis and activity graphs and stuff, it kind of leverages a lot of the technology that they're already using in GitHub. So it'll be familiar to people that are using GitHub, which is nice. I really want to take a whack at playing with this thing as soon as I can get my hands on it. It doesn't seem that I haven't been able to figure out how to yet, though. So, but they're also putting the CI/CD stuff in here into GitHub, which is nice, and pair programming implementations. So it looks like they're that GitHub is building up a full-featured suite of development project management tools, which could be great if they implement them properly. Now, the question becomes, are those things necessary for technical projects?
The tools?
Yeah. Having something like this, a Trello or a Jira or a GitHub or something.
If all you're doing is bug fixing, or if all you're doing is, all right, we need to build the next feature of an existing product, I'll go out on a limb and say they're not exactly necessary, because you can manage that in other ways or use other tools to do it. If you're truly doing a project like a temporary, complex endeavor with multiple people involved, then I think tools like this are a necessity. Like, for example, when I was doing, again, it's not software development, but like we had software developers on the project doing certain things. But when we were doing the system migration, I can't imagine not using a software tool to do it. And that was 20 years ago when I did this, or 20 plus years ago. And, use Microsoft Project or whatever. So today, if I were to do a project like that, it would probably be using one of these tools. Mm-hmm. So if any kind of that project with a lot of moving parts, or like you're developing a piece of software for the first time with a certain defined feature set, well, not necessarily, but, then I would think one of these tools is essential.
Yeah, and I'll say that...
What do you think?
I'll say that I would never do them without... I don't even do any of my lone wolf consulting type stuff without something like this working on it. So, yes, I think they're essential. The more people you have on a team and the more distributed they are, the more essential this becomes.
Yeah.
I'll also say that the more people and the more distributed they are, the more important it is to get closer to following Kanban or Scrum or whatever agile methodology becomes. Because if I'm just sitting there working on my own, I don't really need to follow Scrum. I know what I'm doing. I'm having my own stand-ups every 5 minutes as I'm talking to the, as I'm rubber ducking my issue. But I don't, as you build teams, especially as they become distributed, having that methodology in place along with these kind of tools is absolutely a necessity.
Yeah. And for what I was saying, like if you're just building certain features or having or dealing with issues, I think you could use other tools. And you don't necessarily need these heavy project management tools, but once something becomes more complex in terms of what you're building or more comprehensive, as well as I definitely agree that both that number of people, how many people are distributed, as even how many hierarchies are involved in it, how many hierarchies of management, then those tools' importance and the adherence to a particular methodology ramp up.
Right. And with multiple people, especially not just the people on the coding team either, the developers, but also the communication with all the other stakeholders, be it customers, your CEO, sales, whatever. If you don't have tools like this to synergize the communication channels, you end up spending all of your time in meetings and you can't do anything. So you have to have something like this to get the communication from one place to another and have all the information centralized so that everybody knows what's going on and we don't have to have a meeting every 5 minutes to explain everything to everybody. So
if you like this clip and want to watch another one, you can click right here. Or if you want to watch the full video, you can click here.